Welcome back to part 5 of the Anode filters refining series. And here is our metal that we cemented out with zinc. I'm adding some hydrochloric acid to it. You can see it's turned color here. A little bit of the metal has come out of solution. It's only a little bit, and so we've added some hydrochloric acid. I'm going to put another little piece of zinc in here, and we'll let the rest of that cement out. Alright, let's set this back out of the way here and let that react. And I'm going to bring this up, and we're going to take a look at this solution now. Here you can see the solids that we have remaining in our funnel. I'll add that into my paper storage. Let's get down in here with some stannous chloride. I've got a piece of filter paper here. Get a little bit of our solution in this flask, and we'll put some stannous on it. See what we've got cooking in here. Oh yeah, we've got a nice dark stain. It's been about 30 seconds since I put that on there. You can see there's a little bit of an orange color to it. I'm going to put it on a piece of paper here. I'm seeing some green forming, so we've got platinum and palladium, and most likely some gold in this solution. Need to get some of this stuff out of the way here. We're going to make some room in here so we can proceed to the next step. Alright, this solution is going to have some gold in it with platinum group metals, and I've always wanted to try something new here with this when I have that combination. So we're going to get set up to do a precipitation on this and get the gold out of there. Alright, let's put this solution in a clean beaker. As I poured that material in there, I seen some cloudiness. So now what we're going to have to do here is filter our solution one more time before we go to the next step. I don't know if you can see it there, but there was just a little bit of solid material, precipitate of some sort, so we're trying to filter that out before we go to the next step. Alrighty, here we're starting to see some weird stuff in here now. If you look down in the bottom of the beaker, looks like we've got some gold that has settled out or come out of solution down the bottom down there. That's alright, we're going to rinse this with water now. Try to get that into the filter, and then we'll save this filter in our paper storage and recover that gold later. There you can see I added water, so now I've got some cloudiness, strange precipitate forming. So now we'll pour this back through the same filter and see if we can get that junk that we just created in there filtered out. most of the junk filtered out. Now what we'll do is transfer our gold solution back into this beaker. Got a little bit of gold in the bottom of it. That's okay. And I'm going to use water to rinse this out. I don't care. I'm still in the recovery phase here, so if we get a little precipitate, so be it. I'll set this up and start heating up our solution. Alright, what we're going to do is make up some oxalic acid. I said I've always wanted to try this, where I've got a solution with gold and platinum group metals mixed together. So we're going to try to make some oxalic acid for precipitating out this gold. Now let's add some water to this. Distilled water. And now we'll set it up on some heat and start heating this up so it dissolves. We've almost got our solutions boiling and ready for this reaction. Before we do that, let's go over here and check out the silver cell. Here's the amperage and current voltage going to the cell. And here's a look down inside right quick. This is, what is this? I can't remember, day 4 or something like that. But those silver crystals are starting to get pretty big down in there now. Looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and fill up our anode filter here with our silver. What I'm trying to do is use oxalic acid to separate the gold from the platinum group metals in our solution back here. In the book it says, thus sulfur dioxide tends to carry down traces of platinum group metals with the gold. Sulfur dioxide is what we get when we add SMB. But oxalic acid does not. But oxalic acid tends to carry down tin and copper, but sulfur dioxide does not. So I'm relying on oxalic acid here to separate the gold from the platinum group metals. All right, here we go. We're going to try adding the oxalic acid into the gold solution over here. Let me get zoomed in on this. I'm going to add the boiling oxalic acid right on in real slow, because I don't know how badly this is going to want to try to flare up and overflow. Should see some crystals of gold forming in here, and it will not drop the platinum group metals. All right, I'm not seeing any kind of precipitation of the gold yet. We'll just let this boil for a few minutes and keep an eye on it. This has been on boiling now for about a half an hour. And I was starting to become concerned because I didn't see any gold precipitating out. But now I'm starting to see some flakes of gold floating to the surface. It's hard to tell if we've got anything down in the bottom of the beaker. Let me pull this up and see if I can see anything down underneath here. Oh yeah, we got a little gold down there. So, this will call this a success. The goal was to get the gold away from the platinum group metals with oxalic acid, and I think we've accomplished that. I'm just going to let this boil down and reduce for a little bit before we go on. Alright, I gained some valuable experience here. There is some gold that dropped from the oxalic acid. If you look down here on the bottom, let me see if I can get that for you. There's some gold down there too. And I had never tried this before, but it is, I believe, an effective way to separate the gold from the platinum group metals. And the book says that the copper should come out also a little bit, and that'll help get some of the copper away from those platinum group metals in there. Alright, I made a rookie mistake here, just assuming that there was going to be gold in that solution. And there turned out to be some gold in there, but we should never ever add precipitant to precipitate out gold without testing for the presence of the gold first. I see it in the comment section. 3 tips. I added precipitant to my solution and no gold dropped. And the short answer is there was probably no gold in that solution to begin with. You should always test for the presence of gold. That's 1 drop of solution of 1 gram per liter gold. Now what I'm going to do is take some distilled water. I'm going to dilute this down with 4 drops of water. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we'll put 4 drops of just water in this cavity. 5 drops. Now what I have here is some ferrous sulfate. This is a very sensitive test for gold in solution. We're going to add a little bit of the ferrous sulfate. That's what it looks like. It's just a green chemical. We're going to add some of this. This will precipitate gold and gold only. So I'm going to add a little bit of it to the cavity with the gold, and you'll see we get a dark stain form almost immediately. Now I'm going to add some ferrous sulfate to just the water, and you'll see we do not form a dark stain there. And so this is a sensitive test for gold in solution, and I should have tested our solution back here just like this with this ferrous sulfate before I got started to verify that I had gold in solution. I've got this on low heat, and I'm going to try to reduce the amount of solution in there before we move on to the next step. It's been on a couple hours now, and I think I've got all the gold precipitated out. It's reduced down considerably, so what we'll do here is just pull it down and let it cool off, and then we'll filter that gold out of there. Here's a look at the gold down in the bottom of our beaker. It's been allowed to cool for a little bit here, and now what we're going to do is we're going to pour it through a filter and try to get our gold out of this solution. Still pretty warm, so here we're gonna try to filter the gold out of this solution. I'm getting a little aggravated here. Keep making the same mistake over and over. I wet that filter with water, and now it's forming a gelatinous precipitate. Got the filter all clogged up. So what we're going to have to do is filter out our gold here the old-fashioned way in one of these regular old filter papers here. Here we go. Hopefully it'll pull through this. Wow. Look at the crystals forming on the side of that beaker. Now even this one is forming a precipitate, and you know what I think it is? You got to remember here, folks, I'm making this up as I go, but I think it may be the copious amounts of oxalic acid that I added, and it's just coming out of solution. Crystallizing and clogging up my filters. That's what I think is going on here. Too much oxalic acid in there. Alright, that's enough. I'm going to add distilled water to this. I don't care what happens. I'm certain that there's a whole bunch of oxalic acid in here, so we're going to dilute it down real good before we go any further with the filtering here. Yeah, look at those oxalic acid crystals forming in that filter. That's exactly what it is. I used way too much oxalic acid to try to precipitate out the gold. It's got the filters all plugged up. Alright, what a nightmare, man. What I'm going to have to do is get this. See that? It's just clogged up with a bunch of oxalic acid crystals. So to remedy this, I think what we'll do is just add the filters back into this beaker here and just dilute it with water as best we can to try to dilute that oxalic acid in there. I was going to try to have this ready to publish this evening. I don't know if we'll be able to do it or not. I might get partially through with this. I'm going to add this into this big beaker now and try to dissolve the oxalic acid crystals in there. Oh yeah, look at that, man. The water forms a nice cloudy precipitate. Beautiful. And top it off, you don't want to get any of this stuff on you. It's platinum in solution, so it's just lovely here, man. Man, even the end of the funnel here is plugged up with stuff. Wow. Yeah, I'll be glad when this one's over. I will never do this again, ever. On video, anyway. If I didn't have this camera in front of me, it'd be a lot easier to pull this off, I think. Oxalic acid is water soluble, so we'll just pour some water in here. And hopefully that'll break through that plug of oxalic acid that's formed down in that funnel stem. I think I'm calling it quits right here. Not quite sure how to proceed with this. What we'll do is let this settle out and we'll filter it and get our gold out of there. There'll be some paper in with it, but that's okay. This piece over here, this material is still cementing out on zinc. And then back here, I'm going to have to unplug the stem of the funnel. Down here is full of oxalic acid, where I had a highly concentrated oxalic acid solution to try to precipitate out that little bit of gold. I did get the gold to come out of solution, so that's a good thing. I don't think it will go back into solution. So, all right. This will conclude part 5 of the silver cell anode filters recovery and refining video. Thank you for watching.